Welcome everyone, Michael here for the fellowship.
Hi, it's Milo here, and today we are talking about the guitar that's on my lap right now.
Yes, a beautiful ES345.
From the year 1964. So we thought it was worth to take the time to dive a little bit deeper into this guitar because it's not a guitar that we see too often.
No.
We do see our fair share of Gibson hollow bodies, also vintage Gibson hollow bodies, but the 345 is quite a rare bird. We haven't seen a lot of those.
Yeah, and there are a few reasons for why it's a rare bird, and we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, so we did have the opportunity to play a 335, a 59 335 that was in our store.
That was a really cool one.
That was a beautiful, beautiful guitar.
A long guard.
A long guard. But like I mentioned, the 345 you don't see too often.
No, so we thought let's talk a little bit about the 345 in general. So let's take it away.
So the ES345 was first introduced in 1959, shortly after the release of the ES335 in 1958. And this was the slightly upscale brother of the 335. It was in between the 335 and the 355.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a Luxor model.
Yeah, and the 355 was the utmost, most luxurious, most embellishments. So what do we get with this guitar compared to the ES335?
Yeah, something stands out.
Something stands out. We'll get to that later.
Okay.
This little switch. We got the split parallelogram inlays.
Yeah.
The 335s did have the dots at first and small blocks later. We get gold-plated parts, which is also gold.
Who doesn't like gold?
Who doesn't like gold? And then there are some other options down here.
Yeah, electronic-wise.
Ahead of their time, Gibson thought it was a good idea Firstly, to make this guitar a stereo guitar. It also says right here on the headstock
that it is stereo.
It is a stereo guitar.
Although it should be mentioned that this particular model is actually mono.
Yeah, so this was converted to a mono, and that you see almost all the time with every ES345.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people keep them in stereo. Because it was quite a hassle. You needed to have a stereo cable, and then you needed to have 2 amps to plug them into.
Yeah.
So even then, it was more useful to just have a mono guitar, which is also one of the reasons why it kind of failed, but we'll get to that later. Then we see a switch here, a knob, I should say.
A Varitone switch.
Yeah, so we now know this as the Varitone Switch. And it was Gibson's idea to have an extra tone circuit in the guitar. So you had 6 options, and normally it would click. Then you had some kind of filters, so it did something to the tone. Again, not a lot of people were using this.
Yeah.
You can get some interesting tones, but sometimes it gets really nasally or really thin or really bassy. Yeah. Just to keep it on one is mostly the way to go.
I think at that time, I can totally understand why they were trying to do it. They were just trying to make innovations and to make a more versatile guitar. Yeah. But I think they went a little bit overboard with the stereo output option.
Yeah, maybe they did.
That's why a lot of people gravitated towards the 335 instead of the 345, which is why you see these a lot less nowadays.
Yeah, so they were less popular. People gravitated towards the 335 because it was less of a hassle. It was a mono instrument. It did have the normal tone circuit like they were used to, and not the Varitone Switch. But then there has been sort of a resurgence of the 345 in the last couple of maybe 10 years or something like this. Because they were less popular, they were also sometimes a little bit cheaper than 335s, vintage 335s, though they were made to the same high standards as the 335.
Yeah, because if I was looking at this guitar, I could think it was a 335 if I left the switch out.
Then they had some of the upgrades, the gold and the extra, the split parallelogram inlays, but then again, it is in the basics, it's just a 335.
Yeah.
So the pickups that are in this, because it's a 64, they changed to, first we had the PAFs, of course. Around 62, 63, they changed to patent numbers. Yeah. So the patent was confirmed.
Yep.
But though I did read that on the gold-plated hollow bodies, they switched to the patent number a little bit later. And also the patent number pickups, the early patent number pickups are essentially exactly the same as PAFs. Yeah. There is a lot of debate online about the holy grail.
The holy PAFs.
The PAFs, but I think these are just the same as the PAFs they were using before this.
So construction-wise, we're looking at a curly maple back and sides.
Yeah, so we do see some knots here. If you look closely, you can see it on the back as well.
Yeah, I said back and sides, top being maple. Of course as well, Brazilian rosewood fingerboard.
Yep.
And this one came in a very cool red finish.
Yeah, the cherry finish.
The cherry finish, and it was optional at that time to have a Bixby on it.
And the cherry 345 with a Bixby vibrato became a legendary guitar.
You will probably all have seen it without knowing it.
Yeah, because in Back to the Future, Michael J. Fox plays Marty McFly, and he is playing a cherry 345 with a Bixby. They were having sort of a school ball, and he was playing Johnny B. Good, and that really propelled the 345 into being a really famous hollow body for Gibson.
One other notable family of brothers also plays the 345, the King brothers.
Yeah.
B.B. King.
Freddie King as
Freddie
well.
King.
They both played the 345 at once in a lifetime.
I do wonder if they played the stereo then.
Yeah, I don't know.
If you know, let us know.
Please let us know. I can't see why you would use a stereo output on a stage having 2 amps. I don't know why you would do that.
I actually played stereo, but for different reasons, because of delay and stuff, but not with the pickups.
But then you
with
split
the
the signal later.
Yeah, it's a
you
totally
don't split
different
it at the
game.
guitar.
Exactly.
Because I think it was also to split the pickups.
It was,
right?
Yeah,
to split the neck humbucker going to one amp,
and the bridge going to another.
The neck going to a bright amp and the bridge going to a dark
That was the
amp.
idea. Yeah.
Then I don't see why anybody would.
They tried. Gibson
tried.
did try. Yeah.
Good effort. A for effort. So maybe let's just walk through the tones that this one has to offer once again. It doesn't have all the tones that it used to have, because we didn't even mention that. The Varitone circuit was also completely removed. So it not only it's been converted to mono, now the Varitone doesn't work. So it's just a switch, a knob that twists but doesn't do anything.
Yeah, but you should know that everything is originally included in the case. So all the original parts are here. If you want to convert it back to normal, it's totally possible. Yeah. And it comes with a bunch of goodies in the case as well.
Yeah, some case candy. It has some of the pamphlets also with the 345 on it. I don't know if they actually are from 1964, but there's a lot in the case.
It's pretty cool history to see.
It's cool to see.
Enough talking, I think.
Yeah,
let's
so
listen to some sounds.
I'll just play a little.
Yeah.
Starting on the neck pickup. Just some of the tones, but I think it sounds really nice. A little bit of drive from the Strymon Deco here on the floor. Also a little bit of reverb from the Strymon Flint.
I totally get why B.B. King would be playing this guitar.
Yeah,
she sings.
She sings. It's quite a bluesy guitar. It's the first thing that I gravitate towards when I pick up this guitar. But you can do all sorts of things with this. You play a lot of 335s, also in a more of a prog setting.
More in a rock setting.
Yeah. So would you use a 345 for this as well?
I don't see why not.
Maybe it's too gold for you.
No, I like gold. Mine has gold as well.
Okay.
Yeah. I was actually thinking though, just to come back to the Varitone Switch, now that it's inactive doesn't mean that it can have a lot of impact when you're recording in the studio. Yeah. And you know where I'm going with this, because there's a famous bass player.
Yeah, Leland Sklar.
Yeah, who invented the producer knob.
Yeah, so also in the new Rivals, I put a little bit of the fragment that Leland Sklar is talking about, his producer switch. So he had a bass guitar. He just installed a knob on it that didn't have anything attached to it. And then he was just playing, and the producer wanted a different sound. Leland, do you have a different sound?
He made sure that the producer saw that he was flicking the switch.
So how's this? And you're just playing higher up the neck or something, and he goes like this. Producer's happy. So you can use this. You have 6 different producer tones.
All right, cool.
But all in all, this is a magnificent guitar.
It's also in really beautiful shape for the age.
It's in incredible shape. So this would be maybe a very light age over at the Murphy Lab nowadays.
I think so. Yeah.
It's just really, really clean. The previous owner kept it really clean.
Yeah.
What's nice to see is that these knobs also have turned a little bit brownish yellowish.
Yeah, yeah.
They're not brittle or anything, but they just have a really deep amber
tone,
color
tone.
Yeah,
very cool. I think it sums up just about everything that we wanted to share with you about this beautiful 345.
Yeah. Watch Back to the Future.
You should.
And you want this guitar.
All right. Hey, see you all next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.